All right, so we've been detailing for you guys media capitulation over and over and over to Trump and Trumpism. We saw it with the LA Times. They quashed an article that was critical of Trump's picks and his transition. They also blocked a Kamala endorsement before the election. Jeff Bezos took the trek to Mar-a-Lago and gave Trump $1 million for his inauguration. Mark Zuckerberg did the same thing. You have Joe and Mika Brzezinski bending the knee and going to have lunch with Trump after referring to him as Hitler during the election. And there are countless examples of this, right? I think people they fear retribution. They fear missing out on favoritism from the government, whether it be corporate welfare or subsidies or tax cuts or government contracts or whatever it is. And so there has been a very clear example now. All of the criticisms have just quieted down, right? There's much fewer criticism of Trump, and it's certainly less sharp and poignant, right? So he's doing his little victory tour here, and here he is on CNBC, and he said the following.
I brought some of our compatriots along with us. They're going to do a beautiful job for you for the next 4 years, and it's really been something very special. And I have to say, Time Magazine getting this honor for the second time. I think I like it better this time, actually. But we did a good job. We had a great first term, despite a lot of turmoil caused unnecessarily. But the media's tamed down a little bit. They're liking us much better now, I think. If they don't, we'll have to just take them on again, and we don't want to do that. But I do want to thank Time Magazine. I've been on the cover many times. I don't know who has the record, but I can only probably talk well about 25% of the covers. 25% are great. The others I just sort of hide. But it's been an honor, and every time it's an honor, I will tell you. And thank you very much for doing it, and thank the whole group at Time.
So what he's doing here is bragging. He's bragging, yeah, we tamed the media. They've been nice to me lately. We've tamed them. In other words, I won the presidency. Republicans won the House. Republicans won the Senate. I won the popular vote. And now they're all going to fall in line. And now they're not going to be as harsh against me as they were. This is what he's saying. This is what he's saying. Look, let's call it like it is, man. His approach to the media, it worked for what he wanted. He would always, nonstop, go to war against them. Always, always, always. And he doesn't just do this against the media. He does this against Democratic politicians. He does this against Republican politicians who step out of line. This is what he does. He'll call them out. He'll shame them. He'll name them. He'll sick his MAGA audience on these people. He'll say vicious things, but then the second that one of them opens the door and says something positive about him, boom, he will flip, and he'll all of a sudden start praising these people. We've seen it with countless people throughout his entire time in power. This is how he operates. He operates carrot or the stick, right? I'll destroy you if you disagree with me 1%, but if you are loyal and say good things, welcome. You could be in the administration. I'll sing your praises. I'll help you in your primary. I'll get you elected, et cetera, et cetera. And he broke modern politics. He broke corporate media, right? I mean, that's what we're seeing now. That's why LA Times bending the knee, Washington Post bending the knee, CNN, MSNBC bending the knee. Now you're seeing, instead of, so you have Fox News, One American News, and Newsmax. They're hardcore MAGA Republican propaganda all day long, every day. That's what they do. But then now, the CNNs and the MSNBCs, they are changing their model or going back to what their original model was, which is false equivalence all day, every day. Both sidesism all day, every day. Forced neutrality all day, every day. Even if there's an example of Trump and Republicans being dead wrong and Democrats being right, we're not going to call it like it is. We're going to say some people say this, some people say that, and we're going to move on. So there's not even going to be, forget a leftist voice in mainstream media. There's not even going to be a liberal voice or a pro-Democrat voice in mainstream media. Now you all know MSNBC is cooked. They're not going to be under the NBC umbrella anymore. They're going to be a spin-off network. So they're cooked. So in mainstream American media, there will not be any serious resistance. Nothing. And you heard what Trump said there. Oh, they're being nicer to me now. But, you know, if they step out of line again, we'll just have to take them on again. I don't want to have to do that, but that's what'll happen. He's bragging about taming the media. Even he has realized, oh, I'm not running into the same sort of resistance I faced in 2016. Which, by the way, I have to say, this is yet another area where my wife was correct and I was wrong. But she said, look, if Trump wins again, she said this before the election, Trump versus Kamala. She was like, if Trump wins again, I don't think you're going to have the same kind of resistance. And I was like, what are you talking about? No way. Of course there's going to be the same kind of resistance. It's probably going to be even more. Well, it turns out she was right. I was making the mistake of projecting what my feelings were onto the broader media landscape. That I feel like, shit, there should be triple or quadruple the amount of resistance there was in 2016, because we know how much of a hack Trump was. We know how much of a corporate sellout he was. We know how much of a warmonger he is. We know how bad he was in his first term. It's not up in the air. We have the record now. We know for sure. But this is the problem you run into when the media never really cared first and foremost about policy and how Trump was destructive for the country from that perspective. They care more about sensationalism. They care more about whatever conspiracies they could cook up, right? That's why they leaned in really hard to Russiagate, and then the Mueller report was largely a flop. So I'm ready to do the triple or quadruple resistance, but the mainstream media is cooked. They're done. It's over. And then even a lot of new media, fake independent media, they're there to provide intellectual cover for Trumpism, if not just outright cheerleading like the Joe Rogans of the world. So I'm telling you, man, we're in a bad spot, dog. We are in a bad, bad spot. Because you are not going to get serious policy-focused coverage on this guy at all moving forward. They are not going to talk about how his healthcare plan was an absolute disaster and it took away protections for pre-existing conditions. They're not going to talk about his number one legislative accomplishment being a tax cut for billionaires and corporations in the top 1%. They are not going to talk about him losing 200,000 manufacturing jobs last time, losing 2.9 million jobs, 2.3 million people losing health insurance under him, appointing more billionaires and Wall Street CEOs than anybody. They're not going to talk about his massive increase in drone strikes, his warmongering, 432% increase in drone strikes. They're not going to talk about him ripping up the Iran agreement, wanting war with Iran, wanting war with Mexico. All that stuff is done. It's gone. It's going to be outright cheerleading on some networks, and on the other networks, 50-50. Because now they're afraid of the revenge. They're afraid of the retribution. They felt like we misread the situation so bad. Trump won the popular vote, the House and the Senate. Maybe we just need to humble ourselves. And the process of humbling themselves is either going to be they're more pro-Trump than you'd expect, or they just do 50-50 stuff. There is no more resistance. Crystal was right. There is no more resistance. You have to come to outlets like this for any semblance of resistance, which is wild. He's literally bragging about how he tamed the media. Which, by the way, another important point, and I've been telling you guys this. Trump was the most arrogant and divisive political candidate in modern American history, maybe ever the most divisive candidate. And he won. So for Democrats, I mean, the lesson is not let's cave to Republicans on this issue or that issue. Let's throw immigrants more under the bus. Let's throw trans people more under the bus. No, the takeaway is maybe you should be more arrogant. You should be more divisive. You should be more aggressive. As long as you believe in something and you argue for it, you get endless leeway, right? He got endless leeway. He's talking about Arnold Palmer's dick and he still won because the American people thought, well, I think he'll bring us more change, so I support him, right? Hey, he blames the immigrants. Maybe it is the immigrants that are the problem. This is what your American voter was thinking. That's not true. The problem is the billionaires. The problem is the corporations. You need to argue for your narrative, but just understand it's not a problem to be divisive. It's not a problem to make your case. And so the same way that he effectively made the media cower in fear by fighting. Democrats, wake up. You can do the same thing. You need to chastise them. You need to browbeat them. You need to tell them where they're failing. You need to be clear that, hey, we need to be talking about the facts of the Trump presidency and the policies that are absolutely disastrous. But they won't. Democrats will do what the media is doing, which is like, oh, let's try to find areas of agreement and maybe it'll work out to do that way. They've all cucked themselves to the new Trump era. That's what it looks like to me. And that is a loss for everybody, man. That's a loss for everybody. We're not going to do that shit here. Not even close. We're going to fight every step of the way. If we're the last person in media speaking out against this asshole, that's what we're going to do. One more thing, guys. Just to show you, I actually feel like this is kind of important It shows you the mindset change. Trump was talking about his Time magazine thing right there. Here's the mindset change. Look at this. Person of the year. This was in 2016. Trump won it. It says President of the Divided States of America, right? And the picture is, it's like sort of vaguely ominous, right? But it says President of the Divided States of America. In other words, yeah, he won, but he lost by 3 million votes in the popular vote. This is kind of fake, right? That's the vibe you get from this. Ready for the new one? This goes to show you the mindset of the media. The pre-capitulation already happening. Ready? Look. Person of the year, Donald Trump. A more like aspirational picture, right? A picture that looks more like, oh, a historic figure here, right? Nothing about the divided states of America, no sly shot at him, no ominous nature to the picture. They just made it look like, yep, all right, there he is. Like, we give up, right? Again, one more time. 2016, Person of the Year, President of the Divided States of America, and this is the picture. Now, more aspirational picture, nothing about divided states of America. They're capitulating. Everybody's capitulating. That's what you're seeing. So buckle up. It's going to be a rough ride. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.